that this is a surface composting worm. It is a Florida native wiggler. And what is so unique about this worm is that when it gets cold, it knows it's going to get cold or a frost or a freeze.
And it'll
go deep.
Right.
Then when the sun comes out, he'll come back up. As for the other two most popular worms sold on the internet are #1 invasive species.
I heard that.
In certain areas, near some wetland areas, if they really became prolific, they would actually stop the cycle of the wetlands. They would consume everything before it matured.
And I've heard about that in some of the old growth forests.
Well, it's definitely happened in Michigan.
Yeah.
Hawaii now has started a program to where if I ship this worm to Hawaii, 5 years in jail, $25,000 fine. Oregon is starting it. Florida is eventually going to do it just because of the problems that we have with the wild python, ball python in the Everglades.
Yep. Yep.
So,
I stopped digging because I wanted to show you the different colors of the sand here. As you get deeper, that it sure looks like the good old Florida sand. I think we're almost there. Let's see if it fits. Now, see, we're not quite there because the holes need to be below the level of the surface so that critters can't get to the worms and the compost that's in there. So a little bit more. And there we have it. The holes are about 6 inches below the surface. We're going to add some worm bedding and a nice little hat to keep the critters away and so that it stays dark in there. And we're just about done with our worm. Here I am preparing to make a worm cocktail just to give my little wormies a jump start. Although it's not a bad idea to do this with your rotten stuff from time to time, just taking whatever you have that would go into the compost anyway and giving it a bit of a whir in the blender and then putting it in the freezer. We'll talk more about that. Yum! Oh, hey, here's a hint. If you ever come to my house to visit and you see something that looks like this in the freezer, it's probably not for human consumption. This is yum, yum, yum. Here we are, giving our little wormies, getting them off to a good start. I'm going to save some of the green stuff for the top. We're going to give them some rotten apple stuff. There's a rotten tomato in there. Yum. And it goes primarily into the middle section because that is where we want the worms to go. Worms don't like sunlight, but I wanted you to see what they look like. That's what they look like. And they're going into the... Well, I got the worms in there, and the camera had run out of room before I got to finish with the worms. But they're in there, the worms are in there, and I'm giving it a little double hat so that hopefully that will keep it nice and dark because they like cool and dark.
Come a chameleon. You come and go. You come and go.
Red worms is the popular name for some of them. There's also blue worms. And and put it in a ball, put it in the freezer, and just drop the ball in there.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Cool off a little bit of stuff in there, but it'll eventually get hot too. And the more you freeze things before you put it in there, the more the cellular structure of the vegetable will crack. So it's easier for the worms to eat too. So I would, if you could, freeze it first before you put it in.
Oh, wow.
Coconut core has got a neutral pH, so that way, when the food leftovers is decomposing and heats up, it's not turning acid or base, and it gives them somewhere to go, other than just in the compost that's too hot for them to survive anyway.
Right, and this is our little worm friends that we're farming. They get too hot.
Correct. What's the question?
I just wanted you to clarify. We're talking about worms here.
Yes. Decomposing worms.